a bed of slate, wide expressways, an airport runway approach, snaking urban trails leading to the urban boundary. Join me as I follow Etobicoke Creek from one of its lower reaches to its headwaters. Let's go. Hey, it's Trev. In the fall of 2024, I took a walk along Etobicoke Creek, and it was a long one. I covered 38 kilometers over 8.5 hours, making it my longest single day walk ever. As tough as it was, it allowed me to cover most of the creek within the West Greater Toronto area. Etobicoke Creek flows into Lake Ontario at the southwest corner of Toronto, near the border with Mississauga. It then snakes north, taking the municipal border with it until that splits off eastwards at Eglinton Avenue. The creek continues north under Highway 401 and into an area west of Toronto Pearson International Airport. It then heads westerly through the Highway 407 and 410 interchange into Brampton, before going northwest again in parallel with the road grid. After sweeping around the edge of Brampton's downtown core, it goes all the way north to the end of Highway 410 at the border with the town of Caledon. At this point, it goes into the countryside, where it fans out into numerous headwater streams. So I started my walk early at a point east of Mississauga Square 1. The Markland Wood Golf Club occupies a reach of the creek between Dundas Street and Burnhamthorpe Road. So I entered the valley at the next public access point off of Ponytail Drive. As you head towards the Burnhamthorpe underpass, you start to see some of the local geology, as a bedrock outcrop forms the creek bed. Further up, you enter the woods at Mill Valley Park. The fall colors were out, and this is why I was out that day. I try to plan my walks along ravines and waterways in the spring and summer, when things are full of green vegetation. But Southern Ontario had a really hot start to fall in 2024, so many of the tree leaves hung on until October. I crossed the creek near Rathburn, and this was probably one of my best shots, as the sun lit up some yellows and oranges on the northern bank. Further up, you cross a major hydro corridor feeding the west end of Toronto. I actually walked this corridor to the west in February 2024, and it also includes pipelines, a highway, and a busway. I did a video on this corridor, so I'll link to it in the corner and in the description. You can see more of the local bedrock here littering the bed, as well as the west bank, where it outcrops near the corridor. The trail continues in what is technically Toronto to Eglinton Avenue. Here you duck under the road and the Mississauga Transitway, and then enter Mississauga proper again. The trails wind some more along shaly bedrock and fall foliage, and under a bridge at Matheson Boulevard. Then you come to Highway 401, which is 18 lanes wide at this point, only surpassed by the Humber River underpass that includes on and off ramps to Weston Road. I've walked this stretch of Etobicoke Creek before, but I could not get under the highway due to construction, so it was nice to check this off. North of the highway, you enter the periphery of Pearson Airport. This is the approach end of runways 06 left and 06 right, so you get a good glimpse of the runway lights here. This has also seen a couple airplane crashes before, which Not Smooth Steve talked about in his video about plane accidents at Toronto Pearson. I'll link to that in the description as well. This is also a site of significant erosion, and it's why I was pushed away from the creek here. Lots of urban runoff, as well as runoff from the airport, rushes through here and eats away at the banks. I got back to the trail at Britannia Road, and after hopping to the opposite bank at Courtney Park Drive, the creek bends westwards around runway 05. The trail drifts away from the creek, following a tributary until dumping you onto Dixie Road. I don't understand why the trail doesn't continue here. It's not like being in proximity to other runways was an issue. My next glimpse of the creek was further up, north of Derry, but I still couldn't follow it. I had to detour via Cardiff Boulevard, where I got back into the valley at Mount Charles Park. This then takes you to a large open space along another hydro corridor. This is a major 500 kV corridor that is the trunk of Ontario's power between the nuclear plants in the East GTA, the hydroelectric plants in Niagara, and the rest of the province. A little further on, it's still open as you pass beneath highways 407 and 410, east and north of their interchange. It also coincides with crossing into the city of Brampton. The trail continues west to Kennedy Road, and at this point, you get kicked out of the valley again by the Peel Village Golf Course. There's trails around the edges, but they have such crazy rises and falls, and you still get booted out to the road network at Chatterton Court. North of Steeles Avenue, it's back to Creekside trails, and not only are they continuous, they're grade separated from 5 intersecting roads. This makes for a great through experience, and it connects a lot of floodplain parks. Eventually, the creek gets up to the Canadian National Halton subdivision, where at this point it's also known as the GO Transit Kitchener line. This is where the channel transitions to concrete to keep floodwaters out of downtown Brampton. North of Church Street, the creek turns to a natural form, the valley widens out, and you can travel over 8 kilometers, fully grade separated from 7 major roads, with somewhere around 30 neighborhood connections in between. The entire trail is dotted with lighting and benches, and the varying age of the furniture tells me that this is a trail that has been maintained for a long time. After that, the creek takes a couple bends before going under the 410 again, crossing the border between Brampton and Caledon. There's no direct connection in the valley, so you're diverted to Old Kennedy Road for 500 meters until you enter the trail again beside a stormwater management pond. The trail dives back into the valley one more time. Good afternoon from South Caledon. It's Trev here. And I'm very sore. It's been a long walk today, all the way from South Burnhamthorpe along Etobicoke Creek, at least the best I could, all the way here to Caledon. There were some gaps along the way. Some were more acceptable than others. But yeah, here I am. I'm at the last creek crossing before getting back to here, Ontario, and back into Brampton, so I can catch a bus to get back home. Overall, it was a great trip, but yeah, if those gaps could be filled, you could have one uninterrupted trail from the headlands to the lake. I hope we can achieve that one day. So that's most of Etobicoke Creek, crossing through 4 municipalities from its headwaters to Lake Ontario. This was first-hand documentation of the great spaces in its valley and a few gaps that could be improved in the future. Thanks for joining me as I explore where natural and built environments collide. And remember, friends, not all those who wander are lost. Take care.